Friends, today I have brought one different topic which is not related to our collector, but it is whether the bureaucrats or politicians, that you have to take an urgent decision in this regard. And if you don't take a decision now, it is now then there are lives of people are at stake. So let me bring the 4 points, major points why they are these buildings are likely to fall. First of all, it is the quality of cement that has been used in these buildings is very low grade cement that has been used. You may remember in the 60s, late 60s and 70s, cement was given in ration. You know, the quality of cement which was given in ration was very low quality cement, and most of the buildings have been built under this ration cement. This cement has very low bonding quality or capacity, and therefore what has happened is, over a period of time, because most of the subsoil and Mumbai's climatic conditions are basically salty, the bonding of this cement has gone away very fast. In another 20 to 30 years, the cements have been broken, and the iron rods have been exposed, and then what has happened is they have got rusted, and then the building structure has become weak. The problem increases because if your terrace is the most important part of your building, if there is a leakage or any damage to the structure at the terrace level, then it seeps down throughout the building. The water seeps down throughout the building, and then the building's life comes down drastically. Now, when this cement was used, we did not realize the problems that will occur because of that. If you see the buildings in marine lines or buildings built in 40s and 50s, the quality of buildings have been very good. You can even now say marine lines, buildings are facing the sea, but you hardly find any damage to these buildings, some kind of cracks or something like that. But if that is the case, then that is one point that is important, that is the quality of cement has been used is very bad, and that is why these buildings are likely to collapse. But there are other reasons why these buildings will likely to collapse, and those are not related to the quality of cement. It is related to our administration, our way of how the administrators are handling the situation, and these buildings are put in a jail. You can say they are in a jail, they cannot breathe, they cannot come out and say I want to do redevelopment and all that. So these buildings are beyond repair. Now it is not possible to repair them at all, because you may repair them, but again within 5 or 6 years again they make the internal rods being corroded, the cement again will get cracking, and it is better to redevelop the buildings. But there are so many problems for them for redevelopment that these buildings are not likely to be redeveloped unless the government clears the problems, makes it very smooth for these buildings to go for redevelopment. So what are the problems that these lands or buildings are facing, or the societies are facing? First of all, the lands have been granted by various people, like in city we have the Bombay Port Trust, in Bombay Municipal Corporation, we have the MADA. These lands have been given to the societies or residential purpose. They have been given under a kind of a Jahagirdari system basically. Now this Jahagiri, what I mean to say is that the ownership of the land is being claimed by various institutions like Bombay Port Trust, Bombay Municipal Corporation, the MADA, the Revenue Department, which has given the granted lands. The collector is the one who wants to claim his Jagirdari on these lands, and these create lot of problems. These people are not at all bothered about the quality of buildings, the lives that are there at stake. They are concerned with not really with the revenue. There is another video I made which says that they are concerned with the revenue. It is not the revenue part, it is their internal revenue that is more important for them. And for that purpose, they are holding the lives of these people at stake. If you, for example, in collector land, there are very few buildings that have been redeveloped. We have done a RTI in 2018 or something, where for redevelopment, out of 19 proposals submitted to Mumbai City Collectorate, only 2 proposals were cleared in 3 years span. So that is the kind of lethargy that is there in this system. So that is one aspect, that is these lands have to be made freehold. These lands have to be made allowed to redevelop and all that. So that this jail kind of atmosphere which has come through the Britishers, these British systems and all that, has to go away basically. And I was coming to this, I highlighted the problems about the red tape and the corruption. Now there is huge red tape in the government departments, and that is the reason why these problems are amplified, you can say. It increases in proportion, and that is the reason why these lives which should be saved may or not be saved if the government doesn't take a proper decision in this case. And this red tape the only solution is then corruption. You give speed money so that this process can be smoothened. But then there is a certain cost which the buildings can bear, and these costs, the corruption costs, are not the societies are not in a position to bear these costs. And there is a lot of other internal problems that the societies face when they give this kind of money, because once a person goes and meets any official and says, I want to give this money, then everybody doubts him and issues like that come up. And whether the money that has been asked is really genuine, we do not know. With regards to the issue of corruption, the government's own report, Bhoge Committee report, says very clearly, and I read it, परंतु अशा प्रकरणामध्ये परवानगी देण्याच्या कामात दिरंगाई मोठ्या प्रमाणात होते ही वस्तुस्थिती आहे. अशा प्रकरणामध्ये मोठ्या प्रमाणावर भ्रष्टाचार होत असल्याच्या तक्रारीसुद्धा संबंधित लोकांकडून केल्या जातात. Now this report is in somewhere in 2000 or something, 2010 or something like that. Now this report very clearly states why this problem is increased or exacerbated. Now we have to understand that if the government doesn't come out with a proper solution in this regard, then and remove this kind of problems that people face, then the problems are going to increase. So there are a lot of problems that are related to red tape and corruption in this department, whether it is BMC, BPT, MADA or the collector. All these places people face a lot of problem in getting their membership transfers done, violations cleared, and there is no system where they can say the administrative problems have to be sorted out, and nobody is looking at those problems seriously. So this is one aspect of which is important. And the fourth aspect is in the DCPR, some of the buildings under 33(7)(b, under which most of the buildings are coming, say the road distance is taken as the measure for giving additional FSI, which I feel is very unjust basically. I had spoken to many architects and they did not know why why this road distance is given. Then some of them said that it is in the Bombay High Court judgment, where they had said that the smaller the roads, then the cars, the number of cars should be lesser. That's what they justified. Rather, I have stayed in a place where the road is small and the traffic on the road is very less, because they are internal roads. Whereas I have seen many places where they can get huge FSI and it is near to the main roads and all that. So this discrimination that I see is creating a problem where many societies are not in a position to get full FSI. There are some places where they are getting very good FSI, like MADA, SRA and so on. And then there are a lot of problems with the societies which are getting very low FSI, and the builder is not, or even for self-development also, the amount, the FSI that is available is very low. Then there are problems related to the area, like supposing a building is surrounded by let us say slums, then there are very few takers, or it is very unlikely that it can sell the flats. Then there are problems related to the airport. Now, for example, near the airport, the FSI offered is very low. So the cost of what you call construction and other expenses cannot be met. So these are the problems that are there, and nobody is looking at these problems. And if this problem persists, then we are likely to see more buildings falling, particularly the buildings which are built in 60s and 70s, which are having jail-like conditions and facing corruption and red tape. This, and then the societies are under having very low FSI and all that. If this combination comes together, then there is a very low possibility that these buildings will be redeveloped, and the lives of these buildings or people staying in the buildings are at stake. Thank you. Jai Hind.